If you kick a 60-yard field goal, you get 4 points. Now, some may go, I kind of like that idea.
I'm one of them.
I don't like it.
Why not?
I'm going to tell you why. What do you really like when you're watching a football game if you love offense?
Scoring.
Scoring with big plays, runs, passes, great stuff, making moves, 70-yard kind of plays or 30-yard kind of plays or picking up first downs to keep a drive going. Do you really love a field goal? You're promoting the use of a field goal, which, as far as I'm concerned offensively, is the most boring aspect of the game. So, I understand the logic, but I think unintended consequence. I don't think it promotes for a more exciting game when you're going to settle for field goals, which are the most boring part of any offensive scheme, as opposed to making big plays for first downs or touchdowns. I think it's going to end up hurting the product.
Well, I think I can see it from both sides. I mean, going past the 50-yard line, obviously, why are you punting anyways if you're that deep in enemy territory?
I don't mind the 50-yard no punt rule. That's okay with me. It's the field goal where you're.
But I don't think if it's just at 60 yards that they're just automatically going to set up a field goal. And to add on top of that, I thought it was pretty exciting anytime Cam Little went on the field and was just hitting impossible kicks in the NFL from that length. So,
which, by the way, gets me to Brandon Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker.
Yeah,
He's about to become the highest paid kicker. They offered like $6.5 million. He goes, no, I want $10 million. And he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year, which it makes sense that he would do that because here's a guy who's kicked 6 60-yard field goals. And the point of that, I guess, is if you, with the new kickoff rules, you get the ball, what is the average yard line? Almost 30-yard line, right? You only got to go really pick up a first down and a half. And you're in field goal range, which would make this guy so valuable. I think if I were a team, I would pay for a guy who can kick 60-yard field goals.
It's becoming an increasingly very important part of the game.
Yeah.
So always 3 phases.
Yeah. Last thing, and then we're going to hook up with the coach of the year. Wow. In the AAC, Zoe Goodson. Tiger Woods has to make a decision. First off, he's pretty well made a decision, which I'm really excited about. He's saying there's a good chance, because he's hitting full shots now, he will play in the Masters in the next, 6 weeks that we got Augusta that happens? I think it's about that. So that would be good. But here is what the PGA of America is trying to do. They're putting a little pressure on Tiger. They want him to be the Ryder Cup captain. And if you look at the other possibilities that are out there, you want Tiger Woods to be the captain. And it's not going to be an easy chore. They got to go to Ireland, so they're going to be away, and it's going to be crazy there. They need somebody like Tiger in charge, and they need to make that decision quickly. If you'll recall, the Keegan Bradley decision was made late. That turned out to be a disaster. Let's hope Tiger Woods decides to take this on. I sit in the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget that floor model spa sale going on right now. If it's in their store and it's a display model and you have been dreaming about a spa or a hot tub or even the cold plunge, now's the time to do it because there are really deep discounts on those floor models as they move them out to bring the new stuff in. Take advantage. Get to I-40 and Whidden Road and go see our friends. Go see Billy. Go see Lindsay. She owns the place at Family Leisure. It's a pleasure to bring into the show Zoe Goodson, a member of the Tigers staff with Tubby Smith. He went to Rhodes College when Tubby departed. And that's where I want to start. First off, congratulations, Zoe, on being the Conference Coach of the Year. I know that's got to make you feel really, really good. But I got to ask you, you took this job. It was right around COVID, which made it very difficult. What has this journey been like for you? Your first head coaching job in COVID to today where you're the champion. Got to be an interesting journey.
It's definitely been an interesting journey, but first of all, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. Wolo, you and I go back to the Tiger days, as you said, and it's great to be on your show. Appreciate the love to have us and recognition. But yeah, it's been quite the journey. We, like you said, we took over 3 days before the world shut down back in March of, what was that, 21, I guess, or 20, whatever year it was. I don't even remember anymore. And then we. So recruiting was tough. We take over a 5-21 program the previous 2 years of me being here. So, as you know, when things aren't going well with wins and losses, the number one thing that you have to do is recruit, right? Well,
Right.
I can't get out. I can't go anywhere. So we had to get creative in our recruiting. And so our start was very odd. But we did the most that we could do. We tried to do as many FaceTime and video chats and get out on campus walking around by ourselves with the iPad or whatever it may have been to show what we had to offer. But at that time, the program was struggling and we had a lot of obstacles to try to dodge.
Wow, from 5-21 to 21-4 is quite the journey. And you mentioned the recruiting, and obviously you have just the most beautiful campus with which you can help to recruit. But you can't give scholarships. And I know you've got a couple of players maybe that are good enough or close to good enough to play Division I. How do you recruit? And I don't know. Are you allowed to offer NIL money at Division III? How does that work?
Yeah, so NIL is offered, and we were actually the first Division III school in the country to offer a legit NIL platform with a group called Mogul. And so Tom Bowen, former athletic director at Memphis, he and I are still really close, and he hooked us up with some of the Mogul folks, and we were able to get that going. And Mogul's a great opportunity for Division III student athletes to get their name out there, to network, and create NIL opportunities. But as you said, we don't have scholarships. So, the thing that we rely on the most at Rhodes is our academic profile. It's such a internationally known academic profile. And so we're recruiting a very high academic student, someone that takes a lot of pride in their academics. And then we go from there. We're no different than Division I and II. We scour the portal just like everyone. We've got two guys that are huge contributors to this team this year that transferred to us, one from Stetson, one from Gannon up in Erie, Pennsylvania. And so, our recruiting is very similar. The difference, I would say, the biggest difference for us is we are still recruiting a lot of high school players, where a lot of the Division I and II, they're portal centric, right now. And so we're doing it a little bit different. And so we've been able to build from 4 years. A lot of our guys are 4-year guys or 3-year guys, which has really helped them, and a huge part of our success right now.
Sure. Well, explain Moguls again, because I've never heard of that concept. I don't know what that is.
So Mogul, it's basically, it's a networking app. It's a social networking app, essentially, that connects companies to the student athlete.
Wow.
So you mentioned, like you said, you're in the Family Leisure Studio, right?
Yes.
So Family Leisure could get on there, and they could look at some of our players on Mogul. They could go in as a business, get a free sign in, and look. Okay, well, there's some local guys. I'm not going to try to promote any certain player, but say they like somebody that's on Mogul from our team, and they reach out to them. It's basically just a social networking opportunity, and our player and that Family Leisure could post, an opportunity. We're looking for a student athlete of this caliber to do some Instagram work for us, and they can go and apply for that. And so it basically just connects companies and the student athletes together, and gives our student athletes a chance to apply for some NIL opportunities.
Just to understand this, how many guys on Rhodes have some sort of NIL deal through Mogul?
I would say almost all of them.
Wow. I never would have guessed that in a million years. That's
so they're
crazy.
all working. It's great. It really is.
And they're getting, to get an education from Rhodes, which is quite a good deal. That is amazing to me. All right, tell me about this team. 21-4, from 5-21 to 21-4 in really about 4 or 5 years is pretty amazing. You won the regular season. Tell me about this ball club, Zoe.
Yeah, we're a very mature, disciplined group. They really are. We're all, we're primary juniors and seniors driven, and just an older group that, like I talked about earlier, we've been together for so long, and they stuck together. And so one of the key components, a lot of people ask me, what's been the biggest difference? We knew a couple of years ago with this group, these juniors and seniors, when they were freshmen and sophomores, we as coaches felt like if we could just keep this group together, we were going to have something pretty special down the line. And they stayed together. So our primary focus was keeping them together. One of our things that we've done over the years is we've recruited really hard, saying, hey, give us a chance. If you come in and you really dominate and you want to move up, we're going to do everything we can to help you move up and on and stay with the times to help you to move up to Division II or Division I if a scholarship opportunity comes your way. Some of our guys have taken advantage of that. For the most part, most of our guys have stayed, and that's been a huge contribution to us being where we are today.
You're the number one seed because you won the regular tournament. I know you get a bye, you get into the semifinals. Trinity, I believe, was number 2. How did you guys do against Trinity this year?
Played them twice. We won both times. We won
wow.
at home by, I don't know, 6 or 7, and went on the road. Unbelievable. I had a lot of people talk about how such a high-caliber game both of those games were, but that game at Trinity was really a unbelievable back-and-forth battle, and we snuck it out by 1. They had a last-second opportunity that got off a little late, but it's been a huge, I guess, feather in our cap this year to get those, because Trinity's such a good program, and everybody knows how good they are, and they're top 20 in the country right now in MPI, and so we needed those two to get our MPI up, and also it's our only 2 losses on the season in conference play.
So this will be on a neutral, right? Berry College is somewhere in Georgia?
That's right. So Berry's in Rome, Georgia. All games will be neutral because Berry didn't make the conference tournament this year. So it's a true neutral site for everybody.
If you win, and we hope you do, you make the NCAA tournament, what kind of seeding do you think that you get? I know that Trinity is, like in Division III, a national powerhouse in a lot of different sports. So if you beat them with their NPI and you make the tournament, what kind of seed do you think you get?
It's hard to guess. I think that we would be in a high enough seed that NCAA would for sure consider us to be a host. So I think we would be in the top side of the seeding. I think that if we take care of business this weekend, and I know it's a tall mountain to climb, and we know it's going to be tough, but if we take care of business this weekend, I would assume we would be in the top 30 NPI, somewhere in that range. So I think it would give us, because you know what it is, in Division III, they send 3 teams to you. So you have 2 games on Friday night, 1 game on Saturday, and then you move on to whoever wins those games moves on to the Sweet 16. So with those sites, I would think we would have a chance to host. So high enough seed to do that.
That would be incredible. I do remember a few years ago, Herb Hilgeman had that great team. A couple of kids from MUS that were brothers that were on that team. A big kid that had transferred from Tennessee, Robinson, I believe was his name. That was that was a great team. And they hosted, so that would really be good. Who's like? What's your ranking? And who's the top 2 or 3 teams in the country that you hope to face in the Sweet 16?
So I think our NPI as of today is around the 40 range, and so we're there. We're right on the. So in Division III, a little side note: there's only 21 teams that get an at-large bid. So with AQs and stuff, somewhere around that 35 mark is where you need to be in order to get an at-large. It's just a guess because in Division III there's no eye test. Right. It's strictly based on the formula and the numbers. So, Emory's a top team. Chicago, University of Chicago, Emory out of Atlanta. They're all top teams right now. And it's Wash U, who we played this year. They're one of the top teams in the country.
How did you do against them?
WashU, we lost by 14, I believe, in third place.
Okay.
We were in the game for basically 32 minutes, and we had a 3-minute stretch that just, crushed us, where we had a few turnovers, untimely turnovers, and missed a couple of wide open shots that didn't go our way. So we're hoping we get a chance. It would be great to see them again, just in the sense of what you said. It would be probably the second weekend, and not that I'm out here calling anybody out. I don't want to do that. But it would just be an opportunity to keep playing is what we're looking for, and that would be awesome.
Well, good luck in Rome, Georgia. I hope I'm talking with you about an NCAA tournament host position at Rhodes the next time we speak. That'd be great.
That'd be great. Thanks again for having me.
Thank you, Zoe. Good luck. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. That is the new Coach of the Year in the SAA. That is Zoe Goodson. I meant to ask him how Tubby was doing. I know he keeps in touch with Tubby Smith, and I think he's the last guy in the Tubby Tree Smith still coaching. So that is quite a good deal. Zoe, brought to you a little bit by the good folks at Dinstall's, and the strawberries, they're back. So let me tell you about the strawberries. Because I always talk about the Cashew Crunch and the Turtlettes. Those are my two favorite things, except for the strawberries. Now, you only get the strawberries basically from now until football season starts. So you get a limited time because they only take the freshest of berries. I think it starts in Florida or Louisiana, and then they go west. They only get it when it's fresh. So they take each region at its peak to get the strawberries. Then they enrobe the strawberries with this fondant. Now, no one knows what's in the fondant. Like if they told you, they'd have to kill you. That's how secret it is. That's how good it is. Then, after it's enrobed with the fondant, they dip it in chocolate. Are you kidding me? And the way the chocolate and the fondant all work together to sort of break down the berry, you got to kind of eat it over your plate or you'll make a mess. It is so good. It is so sweet, and it's available. I mean, they're going strong. Everybody got it for Valentine's Day, but they sell them all season long. So I'd go to either Germantown, Collierville, my neck of the woods, Laurelwood, downtown, or where they make it at Pleasant View. They got them in stock. You want to be a hero? You go get somebody chocolate-covered strawberries from Dinstall's. The best, I promise. Joe Dank, the best when it comes to the business of sports. He's got the numbers on the Olympics, and he comes your way next.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Unlock your new go-to spot, Codes Dispensary in Steele, Missouri, just over an hour from Memphis. When you're ready for a legal, reliable option, they're right up the road. Explore the full menu of top-shelf products in-store and online. Short on time? Order ahead and cruise through the drive-thru for a quick pickup. Stack rewards while you stock up with Club Codes. Earn points for every dollar spent. Codes Dispensary, now open in Steele, Missouri. Supreme cannabis that's worth the drive. Learn more at codesdispensary.com. That's codesdispensary.com.
Bobby J's waiting for you at Gossett Kia on the Pike. It's the 2026 President's Day sales event. He's ready to rock. How about 2026 Kia K4 LX $219 a month? Or take your pick, 2026 Kia Sorento LX or a 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid LX $297 a month. 2027 Kia Telluride LX just hit the lot at $449 a month. All 24-month lease $39.99 due at signing. Plus all 2026 EV9s $12,000 off or 0% for 60 months available. Plus, Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Bobby J's ready to put you in a new Kia today at Gossett Kia. 1900 Covington Pike online. KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
K4 MSRP 25,285. Sorrento TG 4114 140. MSRP 34,030. Sportage Hybrid LXT 2271 780. MSRP 31,865. Telluride BG 07748. MSRP 44,510. EV9 TG 07645. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 895. Must finance through KFA. Excludes tax on the license with approved credit. Dealer stock only. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/2/2026.
Your home is your best investment, so why not make it the best it can be with help from Gates Lumber? Start with your front door, serving two purposes, curb appeal and security. Gates has solid construction doors built for security, durability, and beauty. See and compare wood, steel, and fiberglass options side by side at Gates Showroom. It's easier to choose when you can see and touch real doors with real assistance from knowledgeable staff helping you choose the right door for your home and budget. So don't just replace your door, upgrade your protection, and Gates Lumber is the right choice. Family owned and operated, serving you for over 100 years with free estimates, free delivery, competitive prices, and quality products. Call 901-942-3201, go to gateslumber.com, or come by their showroom, 1253 South Bellevue Boulevard. Gates Lumber, celebrating over 100 years with a passion for craftsmanship since 1920.
Men, if you're tired of relying on pills and want lasting, natural performance in the bedroom, Bluff City Health and Wellness offers Apex RF. Backed by clinical research, this discreet 15-minute, non-surgical treatment boosts blood flow, sensitivity, and confidence. No pills, no needles, no side effects. Appointments are filling fast. Call Bluff City Health and Wellness today at 901-800-7606 or take the ED quiz at bchwonline.com. Bluff City Health and Wellness, your confidence in the bedroom naturally.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
The numbers are in on the Olympic Games. Mike Tirico has become Tirico. I mean, everybody is praising the job he did. I am one of those who would agree. I think it was a smashing success. The guy that is our expert is Joe Denk, former GM of 24 and 30, and a guy who's produced and directed many a television sports production. So what's the verdict? Big success on the television ratings for the Olympics?
Big success on TV ratings. Frankly, I think maybe biggest success, this will sound hyperbolic. You think about this, I think it might be the best television product in the history of the medium, frankly.
Really?
And, yeah, people might argue that, but when one considers the scope, the content, the production, the technology, and how it was integrated, not to mention, look, bottom line stuff counts, sales and marketing, this thing is a Grand Slam success at so many levels. It's a 2-week TV show, and it just blew everybody away. They produced the heck out of every event that they did. They made money. They spent over $1 billion on the rights. They spent a ton to produce it.
That's what I was going to ask you. Because I just heard Tirico on the Today Show this morning, and he was talking about in all 3,000 people worked on these Olympics. How much money did they spend on this production?
Well, that's a number that they won't disclose, but the rights fee alone is over $1 billion.
Right.
So you have to believe. I mean, this is in the tens of millions to do it. You're building infrastructure. This is a tiny mountain town where this stuff goes on. They don't have a lot of television technology and infrastructure there to begin with. So you got to do it. It's a multi-year project, but they hit it out of the park, and it was truly amazing. Look, and it culminated Sunday with something that was really special. That hockey game did 18.6 million viewers, and it started at 8 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. That means that game was being played at 5 in the morning in L.A., and it still did 18.6 million. It peaked, David, in the overtime at 26 million viewers.
Wow. And I would have been one of them, but I was doing a basketball game, unfortunately. Of course, I've seen the replay of it. So that was the men's game. The women's game the day before, you have any idea what that did?
How about 5.3 million viewers? 7.7 million was the peak. That game, unlike the men were on NBC and Peacock. The women were on USA Network and Peacock. Now, the women had the big advantage. It was played on Thursday afternoon. It's the highest rated women's game ever. The previous was U.S. and Canada back in 22. They did 3.5 million. The interesting thing, the men's game was the second best hockey game ever on NBC. The one that beat it was another USA-Canada gold medal game. This one was played back in 2010 when the Olympics were in Vancouver. So that game started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern time. So that allowed for a much bigger TV audience, and they got 27.6 million that time. But, really an interesting run for NBC. It's an amazing accomplishment. As I said, I can't say enough about it. The Olympics overall averaged 23.5 million viewers per day.
Wow.
That was up 94%,
Wow.
plus 94% versus the Beijing Games. So
that's
really something.
That is amazing. I mean it. That NBC, I know, should be patting themselves on the back. I guess the only question I have remaining on that, and you may not have the answer, the Miracle on Ice in 1980, 46 years ago, when the television world was entirely different than it is now. And I'm not going to even talk about the gold medal game. I'm going to talk about the semifinal game because that's the Miracle on Ice, the Russian game. Do you have any idea what that number was compared to this?
Don't have it handy, but keep in mind a couple of things. The game was not televised live. It was in Lake Placid afternoon. It was played at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but these were the days ABC saved everything for their primetime window.
Right.
There was no such thing as a daytime window on an ABC TV affiliate, and it was in a time where we didn't get live score updates texted to us, delivered to us, messaged to us in our hands in a handset. I mean, who knew? You didn't know that the game was even being played that afternoon for the most part. I mean, I remember I was in 1980. I was in college at the time, and that came up when the game was in prime time on a tape delay. So such a different. It is 46 years, I guess, which somehow that hurts my feelings to say that it was 46 years ago because you remember it. I remember watching the Sunday gold medal game very well, like it happened almost yesterday. But the point is, the world and the technology and everything has changed so much that we have access to all of these events live as they happen now. And that game, that game that just is so famous now, and was really well done on the documentary, right? You and I talked about that. The recent documentary on the 80 Olympic team is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest everybody take a look at that, especially in the context of this year's team.
I was in Cape Girardeau in television in 1980. I got to this market in 81. People were still talking about not the Russian game, the gold medal game on a Sunday morning, which was, I believe, they did do that live, correct? Because
yes.
It was not shown in Memphis because WHBQ Channel 13, the ABC station at that time, had a long-running church service, so they didn't show the game. And I'm telling you, when I would come into the market and introduce myself to people, they would always go, "Oh yeah, you're the station that didn't show the game." I'll never forget that.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
All right, let's
not the best programming decision ever made by the local station.
No, the program director actually had the link to the church, and they long-term relationship. I think if he had that, he's a blessed memory now. I'm not going to even mention his name, but I think if he had that decision to make over, he would have definitely chose differently in that regard. Let's move on to the Grizzlies and their television deal. We know FanDuel is going out. They are not going to be around next year. It appears the Atlanta Braves are putting together a network that would have the Braves, the Hawks, the Preds, and the Grizzlies. What are you hearing about that?
Well, so the new platform is called Braves Vision. They announced it yesterday. This will launch with Braves games only. It will launch in time for opening day this year. They'll do 140 Braves games. The thing that matters most here is that there is some potential and early speculation that the Grizz could be a team added to this once it is in place, as well as the Hawks and, as you said, the Predators. But for now, the Braves are going on their own. They're making their own television platform, and it is called Braves Vision. It was formally announced yesterday. They are targeting various ways to achieve distribution. One would be the traditional cable systems, including Comcast, Charter, DirecTV. They're trying to get carriage on streamers, which would include YouTube TV and Hulu. And they do have a deal, and this is important locally, they do have a deal in place through the Braves with Gray Media. Mm-hmm. And Gray Media is a multi-station broadcast group that includes WMC TV Channel 5 here. So some Braves games will be included on Gray Media this year. Also, some Cardinal games will be included because the Cardinals have done a deal with Gray Media as well.
So wait. Those would be not on 5, but on 5 point whatever. It's like 90. I want to say it's 907 or 903 on the Comcast system. That's what we're talking about. That would be right.
Some will actually be on regular Channel 5. Not a lot, but some. It's the exact schedule is not confirmed to my knowledge. But some baseball games are going to be on WMC Channel 5, the regular channel. Then the others will be on 5.3, which they're trying to make into a bit of a sports network of its own right now. So there will be Cardinal games as well as Braves games there this year, but not a lot. Not a lot. The primary coverage is going to be on the thing called Braves Vision. That's where 140 games will be. They will also obviously fall onto some of the national platforms there. But all of this speaks to the troubled environment in which the regional sports networks find themselves. Mm-hmm. As you said, FanDuel Sports Network, owned by the Main Street Sports Group, is coming to its end following the NBA season. It does leave teams like the Grizzlies and the Predators, among others, without a local television rights deal. And in all cases, it's very unlikely that whatever these new deals are, it's unlikely that they will come close to providing the types of rights fees that had been coming to these NBA teams and baseball teams under the previous regional sports network deals. And that's just due to the changing environment in the business. And, we've used this term cord cutting so often, and we know that overall cable subscriptions in America are down close to 40%. And those teams were receiving per sub fees from cable operators. To make matters worse, the cable operators now have moved whatever regional sports networks there are, and this will likely be the case with this new Braves play. They will be on these tiered environments. So whatever the per sub fees are, the monthly dollar amount will likely be less, and the total subs will be probably somewhere less than half of what it once was as recently as 10 years ago.
But if we bottom line...
financial hit. It's a huge financial hit to the teams.
To the teams. If we bottom line this, though, am I going to have to pay to see the Grizzlies next year? I mean, I know I've been paying a subscribers fee as part of my Comcast thing, but I've accepted that. But do you think I'm going to end up having to pay a separate thing to wherever we get this to watch the Grizzlies?
Well, the key will be if they affiliate with a group such as this Braves Vision that is able to get carriage on Comcast or DirecTV, YouTube TV, or Hulu. But look, as you said, we've already been paying because we pay subscription fees to those. In the absence of that, you'll be having some type of a direct-to-consumer deal that the Grizzlies will provide or the NBA will provide. Both the NBA and Major League Baseball are working feverishly to develop a plan with their local teams' rights to come together and do some type of a streaming deal. But the space is very uncertain at the moment, and these are key initiatives by the baseball commissioner and the NBA commissioner trying to get local TV rights some certainty. The collapse of the RSNs was huge. and it affected most of the teams. The only teams that are in relatively good shape are those major market teams, which we have discussed in New York, L.A., Chicago, and those types of markets.
All this to be continued. Last thing for Joe Dank. I looked this up because you were talking about Live Golf and their investment to date and how they're bleeding money. The PIF fund today is worth $1.15 trillion. So I don't know if they care about losing money, but how much are they losing?
Well, the question is this. It is estimated, it was reported this week, that the Live Golf, by the end of this golf season, the PIF will have spent $6 billion on this endeavor. It's hard to believe, but this is the 5th season of Live Golf.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to believe, too, that there have been 2 events this year, and if anybody, who knows that they occurred?
I don't.
Necessarily. And if you don't, then nobody does, because I know of your love for the game, and I know of your interest in watching the game on television. So if a guy like you doesn't know that the Live Golf Tour has had 2 events this year, then almost no one else. The fund added just $270 million to its effort. They've already spent $5.3 billion on this. The question is, if people go, well, they've got enough money, it doesn't matter if they lose money. People who have money don't give it away for fun. I mean, they didn't say, John Rahm seems like a nice guy, let's give him $100 million. Whatever was going on with the PIF, it had an objective. It had a certain stated goals by putting on this golf tour. And so my question would be, as you're now into the 5th year, whatever those stated goals and objectives might have been, or intended goals and objectives, what, if any, have been achieved with this effort? It has not been any type of a commercial success whatsoever. There is a TV deal in place, but it's basically a rev share. It is not a rights fee. The golf matches are televised on FS1, FS2, sometimes on Fox Sports. They're on at odd times of the day because many of the events occur on the international basis. And yet, in the presence of that, they're in a 5th year now where the prize money on tour has gone from $25 million to $32 million. There are players on that tour who are in for 9-figure player contracts and committed.
Well.
And so, and the tour itself pays to run its events and to produce its television. And as we know, there's been very limited sponsor success. You watch guys on the PGA Tour, and lots of times their shirts look like billboards. There's not a lot of that on the Live Tour. Ticket sales are low, and as we said, there's very little in terms of merchandise and TV rights.
Yep.
I should point out, too, the interesting thing is we wondered how this would affect the PGA Tour when it started 5 years ago. I think you'd have to say that the tour handled it well, made some adjustments, and bounced back. I'll share just a couple of quick ones with you to conclude here this morning. The PGA Tour this year is on fire on television. Phoenix, plus 32%. The Farmers at Torrey Pines, plus 75%.
Whoa.
And the American Express at La Quinta was plus 125%. That's year-to-year viewership. Pebble was down 1%, but that was a weird Sunday. Olympics, Daytona 500, and NBA All-Star Game all happening.
Right.
So,
and no Scheffler.
PGA Tour TV ratings are doing well.
Scheffler wasn't in the thing either, and I think he's becoming a draw. Judd Dank, as always, we appreciate $6 billion. That's an ego thing for those guys now, it seems to me. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Thank you, David.
That's our man on the Biz of Sports. He's brought to you by Shell Dunn, talking about business. You ever wonder where your doctor goes when he or she gets sick, or what your dentist does when they get a toothache? They got to go to somebody, right? This is what happens with my guy, Shell Dunn Rosengarten. The pros, when they kind of retire or they got to refer somebody because they're too busy, they always refer him. They know how good he is, how long he's been doing this, how hard he works, 365, 24/7. That's the truth. And the strategic, successful marketing program that means the difference in what you make and how long it takes you to get to the closing table. They know about Sheldon, and that's why they send stuff his way. They do that by calling him. That's simple, 483-0546, or they can email him at memphisrelocate.com. So if you or somebody you know is looking for A new home or selling the one you got? Do what the other pros do. They call or they email Sheldon, MemphisRelocate.com or 483-0546. We got the roundtable, Corey Glore and Bruce Howard. They're all in New Orleans because they're playing each other tonight. They come your way in a minute.
Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Available locally on your radio dial as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, it's easy to stay tuned to Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, folks. Bill Russell at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. And a couple of weeks ago, a gentleman came in and bought his wife a beautiful diamond bracelet for Valentine's Day. As I wrapped it up, he asked me, Bill, how long have we been doing this? Well, he and I both thought backward to when he bought his engagement ring for me in 1971, and we did the math. And the answer to the question was 55 years ago. Then we talked about some 24 years later when his son got married and Russell Brothers Jewelers had just the right ring for his bride. Then, this past Christmas, I had the pleasure of meeting his grandson and we found the perfect gift for his girlfriend. At Russell Brothers, we take great pride in the multi-generational families that we serve, and we are humbled by their loyalty. So how do we do it? Easy answer, folks, and one I'm proud of. Beauty, quality, value, and service. And we would love the opportunity to share them with you at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Come see us at 4646 Poplar at Perkins.
Napa Cafe celebrates 28 years in 2026.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. If you are a first-time guest or have dined with us countless times, I want to thank you for making us part of your lives. Whether you're celebrating with the crowd or planning a cozy date night on the town, Napa Cafe can provide you an extraordinary evening. We have 5 dining rooms, including our private wine cellar, our Jan's room for 2 guests, and the Eleanor room for parties up to 60. Sit back, relax, and celebrate. Leave the cooking to us. Come see me at Napa Cafe, 5101 Sanderlin Avenue. We're open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. We also offer curbside pickup from our full menu. For details on our stay-in, dine-out menu or reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. We can't wait to serve you.
Come join in and celebrate 28 years of Napa Cafe in 2026.
After a crash, insurance companies want you to settle for less. NST doesn't play that game. For over 35 years, we've won big for Memphis families. Injured, the call is free, and you don't pay unless we win. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
We head to New Orleans because that's where both Corey Glore, the voice of the Tulane Green Wave, and Bruce Howard, the voice of the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, are situated. I don't know. You guys can correct me. I'll start with you, Bruce, because I know you'll know. When's the last time you guys at Tulane were favored by 4.5?
Boy, it's been a while, I'm sure. Probably back to the Frank Haith era, when Frank had a team that won a co-championship, probably back to 2020, I would think. Little, not terribly surprising that they're favored by that much, but Tulane's playing really good right now. They've won 4 in a row, so this should be a really good game tonight out here.
Corey, what do you think's going to happen tonight?
I hope it'll be a good game as well. I mean, this is first and only time we're getting a look at Tulsa, and I've been on the Tulsa train even maybe more than Bruce at times this year with what I've seen from them from afar. So I'm very intrigued to see how a Tulane defense, which has really quieted three-point shooting here in conference play, specifically this month, handles this type of offense. I mean, that's the name of the game tonight.
I'm looking forward to that, too. I think, USF is pulling away. Maybe. They got a 1.5 lead on both to Tulsa and on Wichita, the team that the Tigers will play tomorrow night. But they are certainly in the catbird seat. Tulsa, obviously, Wichita, and Charlotte. Still very much in the mix for the triple buys. Is Who's the biggest surprise out of those three to you guys? And I'll start with you, Corey.
I think just on the surface is Charlotte. Now they are running into what I think we all saw coming, and that their schedule took a bump up here the last couple of weeks, and they are falling, I think, some victim to that. Their loss at home to UTSA is baffling, and so that just kind of lingers in the back of my head. But the fact that they're sitting right now tied for fifth, and they've got some pretty good wins on the books this year. I mean, that to me is the surprise still because, again, I saw Tulsa in the non-con, and yeah, a lot of people wrote off the schedule that they had, but I saw them just clubbing teams in the way that they were playing. So the fact that they're contending here at the top, I'm not surprised because I saw this in November and December. Charlotte being in this position with that makeup with a team that I think just plays really well for 40 minutes and is not really out-talenting anybody else, that to me is the surprise in the top half of the league.
Bruce?
Yeah, I would agree. Charlotte, what were they picked, number 13? And Tulsa was picked 8, so those are definitely the two surprise teams.
Where was Wichita picked? Because I'm going to say for me, Paul Mills's teams have struggled the last 2 years. I didn't think they were really that good a product, and he's a remake a lot like your team that Eric Conkle put together, and yet now they've won 3 in a row and 8 of the last 10, and they're sitting right there with you. I would have to put Wichita in. I couldn't remember where were they picked.
They were 5th. They were picked 5th.
Oh, okay, so that's not as big a surprise.
Yeah, they were maybe a little bit better than what they were predicted to be. The key with that number 2 seed involving Tulsa is the fact that Wichita State has the hammer. They have the tiebreaker via their win over USF. The two teams split the 2 games. So that's something that Tulsa's worried about, obviously.
I think as I look at the talent and starting lineups in particular, I think USF has the most talent on this in this league. Bruce, you concur?
Yeah, I think, in fact, I'm surprised. Had they had a better non-league result, I think they'd be bumping right up there, in a situation where they'd be considered for an at-large. But they just didn't play very well or play as well as they could in the non-league. And 11-3 on top of a good non-league schedule or a good non-league result, they'd probably be in that mix, on the bubble. But as it stands, they're not.
I think I remember their Ken Palm was 50 or something, 55, something like that. That's probably not good enough to make an at-large team. Who do you think's the most talented, Corey?
It's South Florida. I mean, you add in Brian Hodgson and then just frankly just what they're pouring into that and every program there. They have been able to accrue a ton of talent with a coach who comes from, the job he did at Arkansas State has carried over very strongly here to Tampa. That's I don't want to say they're clear head and shoulders talent-wise above other teams in the league, but they're number 1, and there is a bit of a gap to number 2.
Well, they got the best player in Isaiah Nelson, at least all the numbers show that, and they got 2 shooters. Those 2 combined, Enos and Pinion, actually have more threes, and Memphis is not the worst three-point shooting team in the league. They have more threes combined than the whole Memphis team. So I'm with that. All right. So Memphis was the number 1 preseason pick. Well, we know they're not getting the triple bye. In fact, they have as much mathematical chance of not making the tournament as they do of getting a double bye, which is crazy. UTSA with the worst team, ECU and Rice, they at the moment would be out of the tournament. The Tigers finish with Wichita, at East Carolina, USF again, and at Corey's place where you guys are right now in New Orleans against Tulane. Will they make the tournament? Corey.
Memphis?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, they will absolutely make the tournament because the UTSA is locked in. East Carolina is pretty much locked in. And, yeah, you're close there as far away from the triple bye as you am from making the cut line there. But that's a far gap. That's a 3-game gap to get to Rice in 4 games to fall to 11. That's not going to happen.
Bruce?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think Memphis has anything to worry about, although, you want to start playing well. And I would say this, though, if you're not in 6th or better, well, it's a really hard chore to win 5 games in 5 days. If you're number 7, 8, 9, or 10, that's 5 games in 5 days. That has been done before, but not very often. So that would be a tall task for whoever is in those four positions.
I think Memphis is hoping in the position to have to win 3-3. That's somewhat possible, but they've only won 3 games in a row twice this year, so I wouldn't go for that. And that's my next question: is can a lower team make a run? I remember a few years ago. I think all of us were together, and it might have taken place actually in like OKC or some weird CUS. I think it was CUSA. Houston was terrible the whole year, and I know they won 4 games in 4 days. So I've seen it happen before, where they won the tournament to get the tournament bid, to get the NCAA bid. Do you think that could happen here with any of these teams?
I don't think it can happen. I don't think it can happen. Even if Memphis is one of those teams, they have the capability, maybe. But I would say no. I think Arkansas a few years back made a 5-5 run, but it's very, very rare.
So, are you saying only the semifinalists have a chance to walk away with that tournament? The triple bye guys and the 2 guys that have advanced there.
Well, I would say that I think any of the top 4 have the chance, obviously, and you know, it's 3 games in 3 days. Obviously, if you're in that top 4,
right.
But I don't 4 games in 4 days. There's a possibility one of those 2 teams, the 5 and the 6 seed, could possibly do that. But you know, again, it's somewhat rare.
Corey?
Yeah, I think 6 is the cutoff line, even though 7 through 10 make it. I think that there's the real actual chances to make a run starts at 6 with 4 and 4. I mean, it was it 2 years ago where Temple made a charge from the 11th seed to the championship game, and so like it's not foreign, but the fact that you're seeing teams that are rested along the way now in this format to try and plow through. I think top 4 is that's the clear, like those are your group to look at for a Birmingham championship, but I think 5 and 6 you can't write off that possibility. 7 through 10, best of luck.
Final thing, real quick. You, Corey, asked me off the air what I thought about mid-February non-conference games, and I got to be honest with you, I know it wasn't a great experience at Utah State, but I love them, and I'll tell you why. If you are in the picture for an at-large and you're going to play a top 50 RPI team that's not in your league, that gives you one more little exposure to those that are watching, that it's not league play. I think it's a really good idea. For Memphis this year, it turned out to be a nightmare, but the whole season's turned out to be a nightmare thus far. But I think in concept, it's really good, and I really like it. I don't know what you guys think. Corey, I'll start with you, then Bruce, and we got less than a minute, so quick.
I like it on the surface. I don't like the neutral site, like what Michigan and Duke just did. And I love it when you have an odd number of teams in a league and you're going to have a team on a bye week. Fill it with a non-conference game instead.
Bruce?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's not a bad idea. Obviously, it didn't work out for Memphis. My biggest question is, I'm here at the Fogelman Arena. I am still looking for the Corey Glore banner. I know our good buddy Mike Kennedy got a banner in Wichita. I'm looking for the Corey banner.
Well, Corey's only got about 30 years to go, and then he might get one.
So there's a lot of things that have to go terribly wrong for the people here at Tulane if they want to put a banner up of my face.
Guys, as always, I appreciate it. We'll do it again next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
That's Corey Glore. That's Bruce Howard. They are both in New Orleans. I said they're all actually brought to you by the good folks at Southern Security. All those 7 locations, they're a not-for-profit, so they can do things banks cannot. And I got to ask you, are you getting the lowest possible rate on your mortgage? At Southern Security, they offer low rates, flexible terms, no PMI. You get unbeatable service, the greatest in technology. You can refinance your current mortgage with the Mid-South's best mortgage leader so easily by calling online and talk to a person. That number is 452-7900, or you can do it online at southernsecurity.org. You got 2 different ways to do it. And no, Southern Security is an equal housing lender, federally insured by NCUA, the best credit union voted by you the last 6 years. Southern Security, your home team credit union. Johnny Radio is right around the corner. Stick around and have a great day, everybody.